Good evening, everyone. This is Brad Matheny. I thought I'd throw up a quick little video before I head to bed here. Markets have been open for a couple of hours now, about 4.5 hours. The ES and the SPX 500 are fairly strongly higher. I would imagine that we're looking at kind of a last little push here to the upside. And I think what we're really looking at is kind of as I mentioned to you, a move maybe up about 2.5%, maybe up into this area. And I really do believe that this is going to be a fairly solid move that sets up a peak up in this area. Call it 559.42. That would be about 595, 597 on the SPY. And I think we're going to be rolling over. This is the election. So I think it's going to be probably fairly quick. And again, could be a bit lower in the sense that I really only estimate about a 1.5 to 2% rally, just barely getting up into new high territory here before I think we're going to roll sharply downward just before the election and maybe see about a 5 to 6% correction before we pull back out of it. So a 5 to 6% correction, depending on where we're at, and again, could be smaller, but a 5 to 6% correction would put us down in this area, 559. So that's almost 5,600 would really put us into this area for support. And again, this move is going to put some pressure on the market. So be aware that, gold will probably stall out a bit tomorrow morning as it struggles, as the markets struggle. We're really in this. It's going to be volatile. It's going to be quick. I think the markets are going to be fairly violent in how they move. But I'm kind of expecting early trading tomorrow to be rather quiet unless some news breaks overnight. So if I were to try to give you an idea, hourly, we're looking at oop, get rid of that. We're looking at again, I mean, we have some opportunity here, but it really depends on how high, the markets want to go. So, you can see if we take a look here and we're looking for, actual price patterns. Get this out of the way and move this up. You can see that we've, moved up into a rally phase and then flagged back out across this area and then broke into a new rally phase. And then now we've kind of get my mouse to cooperate here, flag back out across this area. And I think we're going to roll up into this area, somewhere up in this area, and then set up a broad pullback just before the election. And again, I'm thinking it's going to be, if I do the math on it, I think it's going to be probably somewhere around 3.5% about to here or down to this area. So this would set up a new peak into a pullback into a potential flagging formation here. And that's where we're at in this pullback mode. We would be peaking here, moving down, setting up a flag. You could call this a flag here, like I did here. This is really an inverted short flag. Remember, we're setting a peak, we're pulling back, and we're flagging. But because we've set new highs and we're rolling through this pullback and then flagging back up, we're really just breaking out every time. Now, this pullback I think is going to be a little a little more volatile in the sense that we could see it move down here, and we could see some volatility coming out near the end of the year or the post election move. But I think really the post election move is going to be pretty much like a shakeout, and then try to move up into a Santa rally and really address concerns. Now, remember, we have some very strong earnings coming out. We have still, you know, into early November, earnings are going to go out until the basically beyond the 12th or 15th of November. And we're going to have some big numbers come out after the election, I think. So again, we need to kind of pay attention here. Now, gold and silver right now, very flat. That's the daily gold on the left, daily silver on the right, very flat right now. And I think gold and silver are going to consolidate into early Monday morning, trying to establish a base or footing potentially for that move that I keep expecting up into 2,800 on gold and up into $36 for silver. And I think that's going to be the next big move. I think you're going to get a pretty good rally here. This is basically a, come over here so I can see it, a 2% move. Come back over here, do it again so I can get the number. 50 to 58 buck move in gold and a $2, roughly 2 to 230 move in silver, up about 7% in silver. So we're going to have this move. Like I said, I think it's going to be fairly violent in the sense that, it's going to be a pretty big and aggressive move to the upside. Then we're going to peak out probably around the 30th, 31st of October, and then roll downward. Now, remember, this is what I've been telling you for the past 2 weeks. So we'll see if it plays out. We really will. But this is what makes sense to me on this broad pullback before the election with the uncertainty that's going on. Everybody, I think, for the next, well, let's call it the 3 or 4 days before the election, I think we're just going to be in a wait and see mode. I hate to say it, but kind of like when you're in the hospital, you're waiting for news, someone's having an operation or a life saving procedure, you're stuck for 4, 5, 6 hours, just saying prayers, hoping that everything's okay, and a wait and see mode. And that's kind of what we're going to be like here the 3 or 4 days before the election. After the election, I think we get a shakeout. And I really think that, innovation and, in fact, let me come over here and see if I can show you something here. Not that. What was I trying to get? Images, where is it? So we'll go here. Old desktop. No, here, hold on. Nope, that's not it either. Hold on. Go documents. We go to mint.com. We go to, where is it? Should be right here. And then we go to here. And then we go to here. And I was looking to try to find this. So what I'm going to try to show you guys here is the TT scanner. And what I'm really trying to do with this is not to hijack anybody here, but this is one of my proprietary algos running. And I want you to be aware that the bull bear scan right here, this is a scaling, a ranking level. So 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is called the bull bear shift. Week over week, this is telling us how much these sectors have moved up or down. So this moved up 2 from a 5 to a 7. This moved up 1 from a 5 to a 6. This moved up 3 from a 3 to a 6. This went down 1 from a 7 to a 6. This is telling you that these are all long. These are all been in long trades. They've been in the long trades for this many weeks. 48, 5, 5, 2, 4, 3, 5, 47, whatever. You can see the longer ones have already hit the targets here in purple. Got huge percentage points in these trades, 38%, 29%, 24, 25. And the newer ones here that have only been in for about 1 week, they're plus or minus a little bit, is what's going on here. The longer it stays in a trade, you're likely to see some pretty good profits come out of it. This is the win ratio here. This is the profit factor here. This is the proprietary thrust indicator. This is your stop, and this is your entry price. You can see we've got a lot of long trades here. Very few short trades, very few real bearish or warning signals. But look at what's up at the top of the list: aerospace, communications, consumer discretionary, tech software, Dow Jones, gold miners, tech sector, IGM, gold miners, financial services, technology, medical devices, gold, US technology. These are really telling you that what's coming after the election, I think, is already positioned up here near the top of the list. I mean, I think you're really going to be looking at aerospace, defense, communication services, software, QQQ, the NASDAQ, financial services. I think you're going to be looking at a fairly big relief rally through the top portion of this. Everything that's pretty much, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in this list, including aerospace and defense, exponential technologies, global tech, utilities, real estate, XLRE. I think whoever gets elected, it's going to be a relief, is what I think is going to happen, and I think you're going to see a pretty solid relief rally. The reason I'm showing this to you is because I want you to see, where the strongest sectors are, and remember, even if they pulled back a little bit last week, setting up as a 3 or a 4 or a 5 or a 6, unless we get a big breakdown, these are holding up pretty strong. I can pretty much guarantee you look at any one of these symbols and they're going to be moving up on a weekly basis. Okay, any one of these. In fact, look, we can come over here just arbitrarily, we can pick one. We go to a daily and we go to IGM. And we come in here to auto scale and look at that. Rallying like a banshee. That's daily. We come down here to weekly. Look at that. Look at that rally. That's what I'm telling you. These sectors have been very, very positive, and really, performing in an excellent format. IYW, technology sector, just straight up rocking and rolling. Let me get rid of this. Just really ripping. I mean, this is just ripping to the upside. And remember, oops, no, cancel. This is up 110% since December 2022. And again, I think that the election volatility, I think that traders not necessarily chasing these positions right now. I think you're going to get some volatility, maybe coming down into this area before trying to rally back out of it. And what does this mean? This means that, again, you could get an 8 to 12% pullback in some of these sectors where you get the come back here and here, where you get the pullback because of the election. I think you need to be aware that you've got a pretty good opportunity right in this area on most of these sectors to try to actually catch some kind of a move. So, let's go here. IXN Global Tech. IXN looks the same, right, guys? It's just straight up ripping. Well, this is, again, when we're looking at this, we're going into an election. We could get a pullback before we get some kind of a rally into the end of the year. And and this is weekly, so I'm drawing this a little off. Could be very quick, and maybe more like a pullback to here, and then a rally into the end of the year, and then a carryover. But still, you could see a 7 to 12% pullback here before we get into that rally phase into 2025. And I think what I'm trying to tell you here is the reality of this list is that this, I believe, is already showing you the strongest sectors that you want to pay attention to. Pretty much everything from these twos, threes, fours, fives, sixes, sevens up. These all look like they're going to carry into the end of the year very strongly. And I would probably try to avoid these down here. These are the negatives that are weaker. Anything, right now, I mean, aerospace and defense, I think, is probably pretty good. And Q-Tech might be pretty good. Exponential Technologies, XT, might be pretty good as well, but they may have really extended volatility. And I'm just going to tell you that, you need to keep an eye on which sectors are driving upward growth. And that's what this ranking and this shifting and the algos tell us, which ones are actually, you know, carrying forward. Like IYG, financial services, has been along for 44 weeks. Look at that move. And pretty much here's your 44 weeks from about here all the way up. Maybe more like here. So in this area. But again, I want you to be aware that these solutions to try to help you identify which sectors are moving and which sectors are shifting before and after the election are available. And you're really going to be looking at, like I told you, if I gave you my gut reaction, you're going to see a pullback of 6 to 8%, maybe 12, and then you're going to see a real solid rally after the election. And there's roughly 8.5%. So it's going to look frightening, but it's going to be a great opportunity, in my opinion, for traders to actually position for growth into 2025. Okay, I'm going to leave you there. Like I said, the whole purpose of this was to tell you that we're getting a moderate rally phase here in the SPX 500. We're getting that move. If I come back over here and go back to hourly, we're getting that move where really you can see here that we got a nice little rally. We're up, 0.65%. That sometimes is a pretty good day. And I think what we're probably going to do is we're probably going to see the SPX 500, rally between now and like Wednesday, up into here, stall, come back down and up into here, stall, come back down and up into here, stall, and then come back down and roll, stall, and then roll into downward trending. So you're going to get this rotation. It's going to be fairly labored going up, but I think you're going to be generally melting upward through the next 2 or 3 days. And I think we're going to probably see that rollover peaking pattern around the 30th, 31st. So this area here, if I were to drag, well, I'll leave that. If I were to tell you right in this area, this is where I want you to start to become very protective of your capital. So when you get into the late Tuesday, mid Thursday, Wednesday, the 29th and the 30th, this is where I want you to start really, whoops, get rid of that, really start protecting your capital right in this area. Really just plan to move as much as you can into cash, get out of open positions, be prepared for an 8, maybe more percent pullback in most of the markets or most of the sectors, particularly technology and others associated with the uncertainty of the election. And again, that's why I want you just to be aware that we're really looking at, 59.20 to 59.40 on the SPX, maybe a little higher. That would put us about 594, 595 on the SPY, about $15 higher. And I think that's going to be probably the end of the move. Okay. All right. This is again just a little update, trying to give you a feel for what to expect and why I think we're going to have a pretty decent move starting out this week. All right, guys. Talk to you tomorrow.